the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
All right, we're back here on the Chase Thomas Podcast, where I'm now joined by former University of Georgia quarterback, the Players Lounge own Aaron Murray, on the call for multiple bowl games this year. You'll hear him here over the next month. Aaron, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Doing good, man. Like you said, got a busy Christmas season, trying to entertain the kiddos, and I'm currently on the road right now. Got the game tonight in New Orleans with Georgia Southern and Sam Houston, and then got 3 other bowl games for the next 2 weeks. So going to be moving around a lot. Birmingham Bowl, going to go to Tampa for that game, and then finish off with the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which I do not eat mayonnaise, but my producer said I better learn to like mayonnaise. So I guess that's going to be part of my job for the next 2 weeks, is attempting to enjoy mayonnaise.
I don't know, man. I that'd be a hard pass for me. I'm right there with you. I'm not a mayonnaise guy. Mustard's an elite condiment, but mayonnaise, like, there's no reason for mayonnaise. You just don't need it.
I'm with you. I'll do mayonnaise and fries. That's about it. That's my extent.
You seem like a pretty healthy guy, Aaron. What's the unhealthiest thing that you just can't quit? That you're still just like, I gotta do it?
I couldn't quit it till about a month ago, but now I've been good, and now I'm thinking about it. So now I'm going to go get it tonight. Thank you very much, Chase, for this.
I'm sorry.
We went to a really bad crumble phase. My wife.
Okay.
Yes.
What kind of cookies are we talking here from Crumble?
Have you never heard of crumble before?
Oh, I have. I'm just like, aren't there like different types?
It's new every week. Every week.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Every week it's a brand new menu. It's 6 new cookies every single week.
Okay.
So like the new menu would come out like, oh, we got to try that because it may not come out for another like 3
What was the best
months.
one?
Everyone. I mean, they're all
everyone. So you're just devouring, man. Those are just dangerous.
Each cookie is like 2,000 calories, and we'd have.
Are they really?
I think they're north of 1,000. So we would, and we could.
And they're probably.
I'm one that like you have to order 4. If you don't want to go in, we're too lazy. It's like 8:00 at night. We're like, we don't want to drive there, so we just Uber Eats it. So they make you get 4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to get them out of the house tonight. So I would eat both of mine. So that'd be 2,000 calories. Probably a cup's worth of sugar in 40 minutes.
There you go.
So, really bad for you. So we're done now. We've been done for about a month now. No crumble.
But now's the time, man. It's the holiday season.
No.
There you go. I love it. Aaron, I wanted to pick your brain here. Obviously, Tennessee's playing Ohio State in the biggest game this weekend on the road in Columbus. But we've emailed back and forth. You've watched a lot of Nico tape. And what I'm curious about here going into this game, now that we have a full season of film of Nico in the Josh Heupel offense, my first question to you, as a quarterback and as someone who sees the game in a very different light than the rest of us, like, does Nico look like a quarterback who can thrive in the Josh Heupel offense for multiple years? Does he feel like a natural fit now that you've seen him in the offense for a full year?
No, I think he definitely does. I think he hits. If you want to take all the good stuff, and it's hard just to focus on the good and not obviously worry about the bad stuff that you've seen kind of in the middle part of the season. But when you look at the good stuff, and then even when you look at some of the misses and just the missed opportunities, I mean, you go back to the Alabama game, that really jumps off the page to me of some of those shots down the field that really could have opened that game up early on. And you just say, like, those are things that I know he can make. Those that I know he can make. And then you remind yourself that he's a first-year starting quarterback. Like, I go back to when I was a first-year starting quarterback at Georgia, and then seeing what I did my second year, seeing the completion percentage go up, seeing the touchdowns go up, the confidence, all of that. So I think we look at Nico and we say, okay, he's the $8 million man. He's the guy that broke the market when it came to dollars and cents. We view him as a professional, and we view him as, you have to be perfect because you're getting X amount of dollars, and the mindset of what a college athlete has changed in a lot of people's minds. But he's still 19 years old, 20 years old, first year in the offense as a starting quarterback, second year in the system. But still, I've seen enough good, positive throws showing off the ability to say that, like, one, I think he's playing as well as he was playing at the beginning of the season right now. So I think that gives me confidence in the game heading into this weekend. But 2, knowing that, hey, you got another full offseason, another fall camp next year, I think Nico's going to be one of the premier quarterbacks in not only the SEC, but in the country next season.
What do you think's flipped for Nico over the last month that he was excelling at in the first part of the season? I mean, he's coming off his best game as a Vol against Vandy. I'm curious from your vantage point here, Aaron. What have you seen that's flipped for him over the last? Because it's really been the last 20 quarters of really good football from him.
Well, I mean, you started off the season when I was kind of, put out my clips of a guy that was throwing with incredible anticipation. I mean, it was next level anticipation of, seeing windows, throwing windows. Then all of a sudden you make a couple mistakes and then you start second guessing yourself, or you start taking an extra hitch instead of letting it rip. So I think he kind of got into his own head a little bit of playing conservative. And I think that's a little bit of him. And I'm sure it was a little bit from the coaching staff too, of understanding that I got an elite defense. I have the best running back in the SEC. As long as I don't screw up, we're probably going to win a lot of games. But the problem with that as a quarterback is you can't play like that. I remember I was at an event one time with Matt Ryan and Rondé Barber was there too. For those who don't know, Rondé Barber, all pro, I believe he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame cornerback for the Bucks, which was my team growing up in Tampa. And I remember Matt was talking and he brought up, Rondé brought up one of his favorite plays. So Rondé was talking first. Rondé's like, one of my favorite plays was picking off Matt Ryan for a pick six. And then Matt got up and was like, listen, if you play quarterback and you're worried about making mistakes, you'll never be great. You have to live on the edge of confidence, cocky, feeling like you can make every throw, and not playing reckless. I'm not saying go out there and play reckless and just throw it up, but like you have to push the limits. You have to be willing to take chances. And I feel like Nico was taking those chances early. Then all of a sudden the script flipped where he felt very much like he was playing conservative. And when you play conservative, that's to me when mistakes happen. It's like the whole saying of like, if you're not playing fast and you're playing not to get injured, that's probably when you're going to get hurt. You have to play to a point, especially in the SEC against these defenses, where you're pushing the envelope. Because if you're second guessing yourself, or you're playing slow, or you're hesitating, that window will close like that. And that's when mistakes happen. And I think that's when you were seeing Nico make those mistakes, playing too conservatively. And now I'm starting to see a guy that's playing with a little bit more confidence, playing on rhythm, on time, letting it rip, playing within the offense. So it's kind of been like up and down. But listen, at the end of the day, you want your quarterback and your team playing its best football at the end of the season. And I can say that like right now they're probably playing as good of football, at least on offense, as they've been, especially better than the middle part.
Do you think Heupel's scheme is conducive for young quarterbacks to grow and develop? Because I mean, Nico's the only Power 2 underclassman quarterback here in the college football playoff. Every other one is an upperclassman, obviously, with Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Jalen Milroe is right there at the border, Carson Beck. Now it's a little bit different with Gunnar Stockton, but still, it was Carson who got his team there. And you just look around, it's easy to overlook that Nico is a redshirt freshman surrounded by older quarterbacks everywhere. I'm curious, you get to 10-2 with Nico. I mean, now that you've watched years of Heupel tape and what this offense is it conducive to a guy like Nico growing into an elite quarterback over the long term?
See, I don't know what this offense does when it comes to projecting a guy to the next level. Obviously, we have not seen, Hendon go out there and be able to play yet at Detroit. And you think of other quarterbacks that he had, say, at UCF. So, like, it's hard to come to mind like a guy that, hey, this offense will train you up and get you ready for the next level, because it's not an NFL offense. It's a unique offense, and that's the greatness of it. It presents a lot of difficulties to defenses. It is very quarterback friendly when it comes to just the width in which they play, the number counts. I mean, the things that I'm sure talk about all the time. Yeah. So when it comes to creating an environment for a quarterback to play fast and to be able to execute at a high level, it's very conducive to that. But, I go back to like my time at Kansas City, and, that was a West Coast offense that Andy Reid runs, and it's all about timing. And I even saw something about Tom Brady, and I think Troy Aikman talked about this as well, about, offenses, back in the day were all about timing of my 5-step drop matched a certain route concept, my 7-step drop, my play action, and whatever it was. And I remember Coach Reid always tells us too, like, hey, receivers, if you're getting jammed at line of scrimmage, you need to adjust your route because you have to be on the timing of the quarterback. So an 8-yard route may turn into a 6-yard route, because guess what? That quarterback's going to take 5, no hitch, and let it rip. You need to be ready to make the catch. So I've always been someone that prioritizes timing with footwork and routes and how those time up, where it feels like Tennessee's not that. Tennessee's a catch the ball, stand there, and then react, or flip it out to the outside real quick with a screen. So to me, that doesn't prepare a guy necessarily for the NFL. But when it comes to just being able to digest and visually see and then go out there and attempt to play fast, then yeah, it is good for a quarterback that's not as experienced.
I like it. Final two here for you. Who does Nico remind you of now that you have a year of tape? Is there anybody in particular here? Because there was a lot of Justin Herbert stuff coming out when he was coming out of high school, that there was some Herbert comparisons. Is that kind of who you see, or is there anyone that stands out, or is he kind of unique in that way that you just don't really have one right now?
I have to think about I don't hate the Herbert comparison at all. I mean, two big guys. Herbert's a little bit thicker. You'd still like to see Nico put some weight on this offseason just to continue to protect himself, especially as a running quarterback. But I think he's an extremely gifted thrower of the football. I think he's a great athlete. I think he has incredible size. He checks off all the boxes you want. So from like a size mobility standpoint, I do think Herbert is a really nice comp. It's a good one. I haven't thought about that one yet. I'll have to do that. I'll have to think of a comp for him heading into next season.
There you go. Well, final thing here. I'm weirdly confident about this game on Saturday. I don't know if you feel the same about Tennessee's chances going into Columbus on Saturday night, Aaron, but based on what you've seen from Ohio State, what you saw with their loss to Michigan, and how Ohio State's season ended last year, they actually ended this exact same fashion potentially with a loss to a 10-2 Mizzou team in their bowl game after losing to Michigan in the last game of the regular season. History could repeat itself for Ryan Day and the Buckeyes on Saturday. Does this feel like a good matchup for Tennessee that they should be able to win? Because when people talk about the cold and everything else, I'm like, this is how Tennessee plays. Like, Tennessee is they are going to run the ball down your throat. They're fully capable of playing in the cold and playing a more physical style than Ohio State, right?
Yeah, I don't think the cold's going to have any influence on the game. And I'll say this about Ohio State last year, not making excuses for them, but that game against Missouri, they're on a third-string quarterback. They had a bunch of guys opt out of the football game. So, I'm not going to say to me, you have to go back to seasons past where they actually went into playoff games after losing to Michigan and played really well. Go back to the game against Georgia and Atlanta, a game which they were, winning and it seemed like they were about to win that game and then go on to probably win the national championship against TCU. So I really like Ohio State. I think the one hesitant spot for me is if you could tell me that I'm going to get the best Nico, the consistent Nico, then I would say Tennessee wins this game. Because I do think that the big difference is Will Howard played pretty bad versus Michigan. There's no doubt about it. But Will Howard this year has played really well. I've been really impressed the way he's thrown the football. He's shown up in big time games. You go to the Penn State game, he played well. I thought the Oregon game, he played incredible. You can say all you want about the last play and not knowing how much time was left, whatever it was, but he played a great football game. So this entire season, I think he's played at a very high level. One bad game versus Michigan, the rest of them have been elite. Where Nico has been, like we talked about, it's been the roller coaster. So if you could tell me that Nico's going to play, I don't even need an A+ game, but give me a B+ game where he hits 2 or 3 shots down the field. He's not overthrowing guys. He's making the right decision in the RPO game. When the box is heavy, he's throwing it. When it's light, he's handing it off. Then I think Tennessee wins this game. But to me, that's a bigger bet than thinking that Will Howard and those receivers aren't going to produce. I mean, I think back to the game in Athens. Georgia has struggled offensively this year. We all know it. But Carson Beck and those receivers had a really good day. And so the tight ends. Ohio State is significantly better than Georgia on the outside.
Yeah.
Like I said, Will Howard's playing at a high level. They have probably one of the best, if not the best, receiving corps in America. Can their offensive line hold up? I think that's going to be the big question. But when it comes to those guys, if the offensive line does hold up, those guys making plays on the outside, if Georgia could do it, why can't Ohio State? So I think that's the big difference for me is if Nico plays really well, I think Tennessee wins. If he plays average, I think Ohio State's able to get enough on offense to win the football game.
I think it's the chunk plays. If Will Howard can sit in the pocket and just because Tim Banks is really, really good at making you accept the fact that you're not beating him over the top. He's you can chunk play me to death, and then we get in the red zone, we'll see what happens, but you're not getting anything over the top against my defense. It hasn't happened all the last 2 years. And I think too, one of the differences going into this game that I'm curious what happens to Ohio State is Georgia couldn't run on Tennessee. And that was something no one's been able to run on Tennessee really for 2 years. I don't think, like, when Tennessee shut down Jalen Milroe in the run game in Knoxville, it was a completely different game. Like, he's a completely different quarterback when he can't get open in space. Will Howard is a mobile quarterback who I think still can get antsy in the pocket. That I wonder what happens if Judkins and Henderson are averaging 2.2 yards per carry, and Will Howard's going to have to force stuff in a cold environment and a high pressure situation. Like, I think Will Howard's going to have to play a really, really good game because I don't think the run game's going to be there.
I don't think the run game, but he's shown me he can play really well. So, like, I have more confidence that Will Howard, push comes to shove, can have a good game than maybe the confidence I have in Nico right now.
Okay. I like it. So you're picking Ohio State here. Is it like you think Ohio State wins this on Saturday?
I mean, I've literally gone back and forth on this game every single day. You know, I don't know. I think Ohio State just at home, a little bit more confidence in their quarterback. I love their defense. I still believe that they are one of the best 2 rosters in America. I think they get it done, but it's close. Like, I think Tennessee's 2 plays away from winning the game. And if they execute those 2 plays, I think Tennessee wins it. Tennessee will be in a position to win the football game. I'll say that.
I like it. Aaron, what can the good folks check out from you? You're calling a bowl game this evening here. We're taping this on a Thursday, and everything else with Snaps, with the podcast with T-Rob. What can the good folks look out from you this week?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of bowl games. Like I said, I'll be on 4 games, game in New Orleans tonight. I'll be on the Birmingham Bowl. I'll be on the ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa, and then the Duke's Mayo Bowl on the 3rd. So you can catch me on all those bowl games. It'll be a lot of fun. And then do a daily show called Snaps CFB on YouTube. You can catch that out with me and T-Bob Abear, and then a bunch of TPL, the Players on stuff. So if you have some Georgia friends, we do some Georgia-specific shows with myself, Noshawn Marino, Ben Jones, Tavares King. We'll do those shows about once or twice a week as well. So catch us out on all those channels.
I love it. Aaron, keep up the great work, my friend. Happy holidays, and we'll have to check back in again soon.
See ya. Good luck this week.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.